In today's show, we look ahead to Friday in the NBA, all of the games, all of the streaming options. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com. And you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. There are a lot of games on Friday. I think it's 9. Is it 10? No, it's 10. 10 games on Friday. We're going to talk about all of those games, some streaming options as well. Warnie.
Let's get it on, Gilly.
All right, the first game. The Magic and the Hornets. The Magic are 4-point favorites here. John Isaac is out again with his hamstring injury. You got to think this is going to be multiple weeks now. This is 3 consecutive games with the hamstring. It's John Isaac. You don't hold him, you drop him pretty clearly. And then with Charlotte, Cody Martin is out again. I don't expect Cody Martin to play again this season. I don't know that, but they're being very weird in terms of telling us, so he's not going to play, I don't think. The other one is PJ Washington Jr., who's missed 3 straight with a foot sprain. Without him, they've been starting the God of Hammers, JT Thor, in that position.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
And giving Kai Jones some backup minutes. And if PJ's out, they'll just continue to do that. For the Magic, what we want to watch is Cole Anthony, because last game he led the team in shot attempts and in minutes. And he played 27 minutes the game before that, but had combined for 35 in the 2 prior to that. So where his minutes are, I actually don't know. They are all over the place. It does help that Isaac is out because they don't really replace John Isaac in the rotation. They just give his minutes to other people. And Anthony will be one of the guys that benefits from that. But is there enough there to look at him as anything more than hey, let's throw a dart and maybe get some points and threes out of him? That's sort of where I think he is. I also want to watch Paolo Banchero. Not that his role is changing, not that his minutes are changing, but can we have more than one game in 2 months where the shots go in? That's the concern here, is that he just continually obliterates your percentages, both of them, and lacks in some of the defensive stats, which makes it really hard to build around him in a category league. I don't think we drop him, but you could look at him as a sit option at times when there are a lot of games on, just to try and protect some of those areas. For the Hornets, will they just let Kelly Oubre go wild again? Yes, they probably will. He will start. He will get big minutes. He'll miss a lot of shots. He'll get some steals, but he's going to put up good volume. And then we want to watch Dennis Smith, who played 26 minutes off the bench. It was enough, and it remains enough for him to be a 12-team league player. But how they use Smith and Haywood and Oubre and Rozier and even Bryce McGowans is something we need to watch in this post-LaMelo Ball portion of the season. The second game up is the Blazers and the Hawks. Second game under Quinn Snyder for Atlanta. There's no Nurkic for Portland, no Winslow for Portland, and there's not going to be Anthony Simons. He got gonged.
Gong him, Red.
We're officially listing him doubtful at this point, but an aggravation of that ankle problem, I would expect. They play a Sunday, Monday back-to-back. I would expect he's at least out those 3 games. I don't know, though. He came. Did he come back too early? Perhaps. Maybe. Yes. And we'll see how long this puts him out for. This time, for the Blazers side of things, that will mean we probably get Cam Reddish starting again. But what does it mean for Shaedon Sharpe, whose minutes in the last 3 games have gone 13, 31, and 14? So, I don't know. Reddish is the safer guy with minutes to be a threes and steals guy. Whereas Sharpe is more of a points and nothing else guy. You can consider Reddish as a streamer, but I wouldn't be all that excited. And I want to watch what happens with Trendon Watford and comparing him with Drew Eubanks. Because last game, Watford was really good. He's played 20 minutes in 3 consecutive games. They are bringing Eubanks' playing time down just a little bit, and that's giving a little bit extra to Watford. I don't think it makes him a 12-team league guy. It pushes Eubanks more to become a blocks specialist, but we need to watch how that goes. And for the Hawks, there are huge questions that we do need to watch, because we've got a situation here where Clint Capella played big minutes last game, first game under Quinn Snyder. Is that what they will do, or was it only because of Okongwu's foul trouble? Or are we back to 28 minutes Capella, 20 minutes Okongwu? Or is it 26 Capella, 22 Okongwu? Or is it 32 Capella, 16 Okongwu? We need to watch that. And we also need to watch John Collins, because he was benched for Sadiq Bey at the end of last game. And I think given the way that Quinn Snyder hated using Favors and Gobert together, that he might hate using Capella and Collins together, and Bey might actually push to 30 minutes. Just need to watch it. I don't think Bay's a 12-team league out in 30 minutes, but it would definitely make John Collins drop if he stays around 25, 26 minutes. I'll hold him for one more or two more, but we need to see what happens in that scenario. The next game is the Celtics. They are hosting the Brooklyn Nets. At this point, we know that Ben Simmons is out for Brooklyn. They also just ruled out Yuta Watanabe or Edmund Sumner. They're not in the rotation anyway, so it doesn't really matter. For the Celtics, Derek White left last game with a neck injury. We haven't really had an update on that, so we'll see if he is out. That just helps someone like Brogdon get a little bit more stability. We also want to see, I'll get to the Celtics in a second. For Brooklyn, I want to see Cam Thomas's role. I know he's not going to do much more than score. I don't need to see that, but it's about role for him. He played 24 and 23 minutes the last two games. Is he a 25-minute player? Is he a 29-minute player? They are different things. 23 minutes, obviously. 23 minutes is not a 12-team league player. 28 is. And he's going to have real value for scoring. Hit some threes, get some free throws. There can be contributions there, but it's scoring that he brings, and you need to see what his role looks like. Well, I also want to watch Nick Claxton, who just isn't pushing to big minutes at all. 23 last game, 31, 30, 22, 25, 23, 29. Like, the minutes are down. They don't need to extend him any further with no KD Kyrie, and it looks like that's sort of what he's going to settle into. For the Celtics, I do want to watch Brogdon, what his role is if White is out, what his role is if White plays, and how we can rely upon him. But the other thing is Grant Williams, because he was a DNP last game. Does he get back into the mix if Derek White is out? What do they do with him and Hauser and Muscala and Cornette? How do they run that rotation? I don't think that Williams will be permanently out of the rotation. I know he should be permanently off your 10, 12, and 14-team leagues, and that's been the case for weeks and months. But where he fits in the rotation does have an impact on a bunch of other players, and that is important for us to note. Today's episode is brought to you by Nissan Ariya. The Nissan Most Electric Player of the Week is brought to you by the all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya. I'm trying to do a hybrid pronunciation there. People said, Josh, it's pronounced Nissan because it's Japanese. I know that, but the literal company in Australia, sorry, Nissan, the literal company in Australia on all of their advertising calls it Nissan. So that's what we know. It's not just an accent thing. That's just how they pronounce it here, and I don't know why that is. Anyway, the most electric player of the week, it's got to be Damian Lillard. A 71-point game, another 40-point game. He's carrying these Blazers with unbelievable power, strength, fierceness. He's been ridiculous. He's been one of the best players in the NBA, probably a top 5 player over the last 2 months, and definitely like a top 5 player in fantasy over that time, much like the Nissan Ariya. It delivers on duality, a combination of fierceness and elegance. It's beautiful and strong. The 2023 Nissan Ariya packs pin-to-your-seat power and premium intelligence all in one EV. The all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya, the EV for people who love to drive. Shop now at nissanusa.com. Let's go to the Knicks and the Heat. The Knicks are 1-point favorites on the road against Miami. Jovic is out, Yurtseven is out, and I just got updated that Kyle Lowry is out.
Double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon.
So pretty cool that they were able to list him questionable at the start of the week and then him not play the entire week. That's sick. We just don't know what's happening there with his knee, so we can keep trying Gabe Vincent, although he's been up and down. And the other one, after the lies of this team, which happen all the time, Jimmy Butler left last game early. If it was a close game, Spo said, if he would have played, he's fine. Just maintenance. The game was out of hand. So, 2 days later, they list him questionable. So obviously, it wasn't nothing, and they lied. Or they're lying this time. Someone is lying at some point. I don't know what it is. I know that Jimmy Butler's knee is rooted, and there's going to be things like this happen all the time. So the long and the short of it is Jimmy Butler is questionable.
Because he's my butler.
Yeah, so if he is out, then we really do look to Max Strus. We look to Victor Oladipo as very premium stream options, if that is the case, that he is in fact out with this injury that wasn't actually an injury, but now it is an injury. For the Knicks, the Josh Hart, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley minutes. Where do they fall? Do they all play under 30? Is there any way that Hart and Quickley push over 30? Is there any way that Tom Thibodeau will change the starting lineup? He won't, because they're on a winning streak. So there's no. It'll take 2 years of them losing every game for him to make a change, I reckon, with that group. Even with Grimes starting, maybe it's being too harsh on him. But again, I'm just scarred by the fact that this man started Alfred Payton every game for a whole year and then decided at game 3 in the playoffs it might be now time to bench him. Cool. Let's see what... I had a question on the mailbag show earlier today in a 10-team league, like, is Hart droppable? Like, probably in a 10-team league he is, because the upside is seemingly capped. But we want to see what happens with him and quickly here. And then for the Heat, we do want to see if Butler plays and then how his replacements look, Strus and Oladipo. But also Gabe Vincent, who was dreadful last game. And he had a really strong stretch, but he's struggling now. And my confidence in him maintaining that role if Kyle Lowry returns or when Kyle Lowry returns is diminishing. Now, there's good stream value for these guys because they do play again on Saturday. But apart from that, like, I'm not feeling super confident about a lot of these guys. Remember, it is a back-to-back for the Heat, so the chances of Butler playing both feel very, very small. The next game is the Suns and the Bulls. Phoenix are 6-point favorites on the road here. Landry Shamet will be out. Javonte Green will be out for Chicago. Terry Ross missed the last game for the Suns. He's officially questionable here. Josh Okogie, they've listed him as in with a nasal fracture. I don't think anyone doubted that. And Kevin Durant is going to play. I do want to see Okogie's role. He played good minutes, but he had like 4 points. Some of that was some poor shooting, and he is historically a terrible shooter. He just had a really hot stretch. It's very hard to look at Okogie as a must-roster player, I think, in 12-team leagues. I think there's stream value there, but that's about it. But we get another crack to have a look at it today. And also watch Chris Paul. Like, he's just going to lean into a very low usage role, like a 14 usage role, and be a big assists and steals guy. Or can the shot actually start to fall? Because what did he shoot, 13% or something in that first game with Durant? His role and his usage is something to monitor to see where it is moving forward. For the Bulls, I do want to watch Patrick Beverley because he was great last game, 33 minutes, big numbers. But where do his minutes fit alongside Alex Caruso, who played only 20 minutes last game and they gave more minutes to Pat Williams? So is Caruso going to start and play low minutes? Is he going to get back to 27 minutes? Is that going to impact Beverley? All of that stuff is important in value in Caruso and Beverley and Williams and White. And Dosunmu seems to be the guy who's on the outside looking in with only 15 minutes last game. I also watched DeMar DeRozan because I do think that the thigh is causing a real problem. Can't hit free throws anymore. His production's down. His usage is down. His rebounds are significantly down. If this is the DeRozan we get rest of season, that's probably not a top 50 player. I'd like to see him hit those free throws at a better rate, but the rebounds and the defensive stats and the lower usage is probably more of a concern to me. The Jazz and the Thunder. No spread out at this point. Colin Sexton will be out for Utah. Jordan Clarkson, the man on the street, is questionable.
JordanClarkson.
Now, I don't have this official yet, but I'm not expecting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to play. If he's in COVID protocols, it's unlikely that he went into COVID protocols, whether it was Tuesday or Wednesday, that he's available Friday. The return on Sunday is probably more likely for Shai. And then they also lost Kenrich Williams today for wrist surgery, out for the season. So with Kenrich out, it gives more stability to Pig Williams, to Robinson Earl, Aaron Wiggins, Dario Saric. And the fact that I was able to mention 4 guys there straight away should make you think that none of those guys become must-roster players. There's a chance that Pig Williams, Jalen Williams, does become an option, but the inconsistency with him is pretty frustrating. Robinson Earl, I doubt it. Wiggins, I doubt it. But they are playing some okay minutes. Saric, maybe, but like Saric's minutes, 12, 9, 27, 15. Like, this is the problem with their centers, and it has been all season, is trying to figure out consistency, which doesn't exist. I went ahead of myself there and talked about the Thunder, but let's talk the Jazz. I think Chris Dunn remains a stream option. Horton Tucker's the guy that we want to have, I think, over Dunn, but Dunn should be able to get that second 10-day contract. In fact, when is his 10-day up? I'm just going to look here. His 10-day is actually up. Oh, no, it's not. It's up on the weekend. So he should be at least okay to play Friday. Let's see what his role is. And Kelly Olynyk struggled last game, but he still played 30 minutes. He still remains a 12-team league player. Let's see if there's any changes in his role. I don't think there will be. On the Thunder, we do want to watch Pig Williams and what happens without Kenrich, but also Isaiah Joe, who came off the bench last game, but put up a really good game. And if you want points and threes, Joe is going to be in that mix to provide that without very much else, though. The Clippers and the Kings is the next game that we're going to take a look at. The Clippers are on a back-to-back. There's no spread available here. We don't know the resting plan for the Clippers, but we do know that no one is out for the game on... none of the resting guys are out on Thursday. They did list Ivica Zubac and Marcus Morris as questionable, so they weren't on the injury report yesterday for the Clippers. They are today for Thursday's game, so that's going to put them, I would say, in doubt for Friday. I also don't think that Kawhi Leonard is going to play on Friday, but I'm not sure about Paul George. Will he play the back-to-back? We don't know whether we get Zubac, Morris, George, or Leonard. playing in these games, which opens up a ton for Terrence Mann and Russell Westbrook and Norman Powell and Nick Batum and even Eric Gordon. So lots can change there. Be ready to make ads if we hear stuff about who the Clippers are out. I'd probably prioritize Powell, and then Mann, and then Batum would be my guess. Maybe even Bones Highland, but I'm not sure about that. For the Kings, I do want to see the role that Kevin Huerter plays. It looks like De'Aaron Fox is going to return after missing last game. So once again, as per usual, the Kings are fully healthy. So Huerter played 33 minutes last game, but he played 20 and 18 the two prior to that. So what's his role? 20-minute Kevin Huerter is definitely not enough for a 12-team league guy. 30 is maybe enough, but I don't think he's a must-roster player. Well, last game, the pencil Harrison Barnesy. He went crazy. He put up huge numbers. He shot the ball well, but that hasn't been the case the whole way through. He's totally okay to roster, totally okay to have now, but the long-term output or upside for him, I think, is relatively limited. Today's episode is also brought to you by Built Bar. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar ever, and when you're looking for a treat, whether you've been for a workout or you just need something healthier to eat, Built Bar's there for you. They're covered in 100% real chocolate. They taste like a candy bar, but they are low in fat, low in sugar, low in calories, but jam-packed full of protein. 17 grams of protein in a bar, but like 130 calories. It's such a great combination, and they taste unbelievably good. And in the past, I've told you, go to Built.com and you can order your Built Bars, and that's still possible. The website's there. You can order them. Easy. But you can also just get them straight off the shelf in Walmart. They've got 4 bar boxes of the coconut puff, cookies and cream, and double chocolate flavor. In a Sam's Club, they've got the bigger boxes, the 13 bar boxes, the churro flavor there, and brownie batter as well. So go to Built.com, go into your Walmart, go into a Sam's Club, and get yourself boxes of Built Bars. Built Bar is built different. Grizzlies and Nuggets, really intriguing game here. Denver are 5.5-point favorites at home against Memphis. We're not expecting Steven Adams to be available for this game. Colin Gillespie should be out for Denver, while Zeke Naji continues to give us no updates on his injury with his shoulder problem. For the Nuggets, for the Grizzlies, I'm expecting that they start Xavier T. Illman again against Nikola Jokic. They started him last time in that big win at home on Saturday against the Nuggets. So Tillman can be a stream option, while Clark, I'd imagine, is relatively limited in that matchup. I also want to watch Ja Morant, who's played under 30 minutes 2 of the last 3 games. Blowout stuff. But also, he fluctuates so much with his efficiency stuff and his lack of threes. What does Ja do in this likely high pressure sort of matchup against Denver? What do his minutes look like? And can we get some more consistency in his shooting? For the Nuggets, this is their last game of the week, and Aaron Gordon really hasn't put it together since returning from injury, which is to be expected. He also struggled a little bit before that. Is he able to get back to 30 minutes? Are they going to keep him limited as he deals with this rib pain that he's got? Is he worth holding when there's no games on the weekend? Probably not. I also want to watch the Reggie Jackson, Bruce Brown minutes coming off the bench. Who gets prioritized? Who gets the minutes? Reggie played 25 last game, but it was a blowout against the Rockets, and he hasn't hit 20 in any of the games. Well, Bruce does get over that, but if there's any switch in that, that will really decrease Bruce Brown's value. We're not adding Reggie in 12 or 14-team leagues, but he can have an impact on other players. The Pelicans and the Warriors is the next game. We know that Zion will be out. We know that Larry Nance will be out. We know that Steph will be out. We know that Alvarado will be out. And I am assuming that Andrew Wiggins will be out. This is a back-to-back for Golden State. Jordan Poole was on the injury report, but he's going to play Thursday. I assume that he will play on Friday. And I don't think there'll be any rest for Clay or Draymond on Friday, but that's something we need to watch. The other one to pay attention to is Valanciunas, who is questionable with a calf issue. He gets cooked against the Warriors quite a bit, and I know that Hernan Gomez gets cooked too. So I think that even if JV is out, I'm not sure this is the right spot to stream in Hernan Gomez. It might be Hayes, or they'll just go small, which means better value for Najee Marshall and Trey Murphy. So just watch that. Even if Valanciunas is out, I'm not sure this is going to be a Hernan Gomez situation. Murphy played 32 minutes last game after 21 the game before that, as they really marginalized Josh Richardson. Have they figured out that maybe they shouldn't start Richardson? They should go back to Murphy? Let's see what happens in this game. Let's see how the minutes split between those two. And with Alvarado out, like, you could have thought that Daniels could play 18, 19 minutes. He played 10 in that first game. What is their role for him? They gave Kyra Lewis 12 minutes. Who gets the backup minutes there? Can both of them play? Are any of them going to be fantasy options? Probably not. But we'll see if there's any role available there for Dyson Daniels that makes sense for some formats. The Wolves and the Lakers. Last game of the night, the Wolves are 2-point favorites. We know that LeBron is out and reevaluated in 3 weeks. That makes him a drop in fantasy leagues. He has to be dropped. I think he's not coming back really in March at all. D'Angelo Russell will be out again, and Karl-Anthony Towns will be out, while Jalen Noel is questionable. For the Wolves, we're going to watch Mike Conley, because it's been a rough shooting situation here for Conley. He's still getting good minutes. He's getting some assists. He's getting some steals, but the shooting's been a real problem. I still believe that he is a hold. I also want to watch Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Now, that's only for deeper leagues, but he has been their first guy off the bench. He's playing over Noel. He's playing over Rivers. He's playing over McLaughlin. He played 21, 24, 20, and 17 minutes the last 3 games. This is only deeper league stuff, but it is just important to know when teams tweak their rotations, and Alexander Walker has been tweaked into a larger role. For the Lakers, I think Austin Reeves is at least worth streaming with LeBron and Russell out, so let's keep an eye on him. And also Dennis Schroder looks like a pretty strong ad at the moment with both Russell and James out. They could continue to start Schroder even when Russell comes back. The expectation is that Anthony Davis is available to play in this game. We haven't heard anything official. I'm sure they'll list him as probable on the injury report, but I think he'll be ready to go. In terms of streaming options, if we look at the back-to-back Friday, Saturday, you might have capacity to do that. We will see. Kyle Anderson, Malik Monk, Onyeka Okongwu, DeAndre Hunter, Kevin Love, Caleb Martin, Taurean Prince, Naz Reid. You can also throw in Max Strus there, because I am guessing that Butler could miss both games or even one of those games. So Strus and Oladipo and Gabe Vincent move into that mix as well, with Kyle Lowry also unlikely to play in at least one of them. He's definitely not playing in one of them. In terms of just streaming in for Friday, we've got Kyle Anderson, Taylor Horton-Tucker, great stream there, Dennis Schroder, Matisse Thybulle. These guys are all available in over 50% of leagues, and that top 4, excellent streams. You got Josh Richardson, I'm a little iffy on that. Isaiah Joe should be a good stream. Eubanks is a good stream for blocks, and then you got Malik Monk as an option there as well. For deeper leagues, every one of these guys available in 90% plus. You got Troy Brown, who's probably going to start and be okay as an option. Nico Batum, Nick Richards, Pig Williams, Aaron Wiggins. You can see a couple of Thunder guys there with Kenrich Williams out. Kobe White and Patrick Beverley in Chicago. They're like probably 14-team league streams. And then Taurean Prince is a deeper format stream as well. For points leagues, we're looking at guys available in 40% plus. It's Horton-Tucker, DiVincenzo, Kyle Anderson, Dennis Schroder, Josh Okogie, Dennis Smith, Malik Beasley, and Xavier T. Illman in what should be a bigger minute night for him against Nikola Jokic. In terms of the next 4 nights, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we've got 2 low-volume days in there, and that is Saturday and Monday. So the guys that play on those days are as follows. Malik Monk, Onyeka Okongwu, Killian Hayes, DeAndre Hunter, DeAnthony Melton, the wave pool, Caleb Martin, Kevin Love, and Marvin Bagley IV, James Wiseman. So there are lots of options there where you can get the Saturday and Monday combination on the low volume days, avoiding a 10-game Friday and a 10-game Sunday. But as always, look at your roster. Do you have active spots available on Friday and Sunday? Because if you do, then this information isn't as relevant for you. This information becomes more relevant. Who are the guys over the next 4 days who have really strong top 100 value? DiVincenzo's got 2 games. I think he's great there. Zach Collins, available everywhere, 2 games. Delon Wright, 2 games. Tari Eason, 2 games. Don't know what his role is, but I'm feeling more confident with it. Kyle Anderson, 2 games. Horton-Tucker, 2 games. KCP, 2 games. And Matisse Thybulle, 3 games over the next 4 nights and is playing really well. Also, another way that you can look at Cam Reddish there with the 3 games in 4 nights and with the chance that Simon sits all of those games. I don't know whether he will, but you'd have to say there's a chance that Simons is out those games. That does help. The other teams that have got 3 games in 4 nights, there's the Blazers, there's the Heat, there's the Kings, there's the Hawks, and the Celtics. So if you are looking at 3 game in 4 night options, there's a bunch of those ones there you can look at. These are just guys who I think are just on a per game basis on this list are top 100 players. And then there's the value of getting like a DeAndre Hunter or a Okongwu or a Kevin Huerter or a Malik Monk who play 3 and 4 night, Caleb Martin, Kevin Love, Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, that gets a little bit of a boost because of volume. And guys, that'll do it for me today. Don't forget to follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on the Odyssey app. And if you're here on YouTube, thumb it up and leave your comments down below. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.